Hello, I am Seal and welcome to a video. We are going to be drawing a bit today, sketching eyes. So I'd like to welcome you to sit down and draw with me. I am very happy to have you here. I have a big blanket because it is very cold. I need to be warm and I am freezing. So I have a big blanket. You might hear me shuffle around with it, so I am sorry. And I have a glass of water because I'm not used to talking so much. So you may hear me drink it from time to time. But it will be okay and we'll have a lot of fun. So today we're going to learn to sketch eyes. So I have a little fairy here that I've drawn ahead of time. I hope you do not mind. So when I first start, I like to pick a good pencil tool. So if you're using Clip Studio, a good pencil tool to use is the dark pencil or the light pencil, in my opinion. I like them both a lot. The pen I am using is the G pen. With a opacity has kind of been lowered a little bit. I think that it is easier to see on the video. So anyways, let us get started. So when I am starting sketching eyes, I like to sort of draw a little sketch or gesture just so we know where we're going to be putting the eyes. So to start that, I like to put a line between the eyes like so. Kind of a curved line. I don't usually like it to go over the nose like that. So let's see. There, that is a pretty looking line. And so this will kind of tell us where our eyes are going to sit. I like to make a little bit of a circle so we can get a good idea of what our eyes are going to look like when we're sketching. There we are. So once you have your gesture drawing done, you can go ahead and lower the opacity because we will be drawing over that. I'm going to label this layer gesture, and then I'll make a new layer for us to draw over. So now we will begin sketching our eye. We'll sketch over this gesture layer, starting on this side. So when I like to start, I like to go on the corner and sort of arch my way up towards the middle of the eye. Sort of, if you were to cut it in half, you'd arch up and then arch down. So anyways, we're going to do that right now. So we'll start here on the side and we'll just work our way up. And then we'll kind of come down on the other side. And then when we're working on the bottom, I want this fairy to look very happy because I am in a good mood and I want to draw a fairy in a good mood as well. So I'll come in on the side and I'll sort of keep this eye flat because she's happy and she's kind of smiling. So if you wanted to do a neutral expression, you would make it sort of round, like her eyes are just sitting there open. But because I want her to be happy, I'm going to make her eye flat on the bottom. And then I will do an eye, or the outline of the eye on the other side. So the same thing, we'll start on the outside, and then we'll sort of curve down. Remember, we are just sketching, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Or if you're just watching, I hope you are having fun. So we'll come in from the side and keep it sort of flat. And then the outsides of our eyes are pretty much done. So we can go ahead and we can... Whoops, I have so many layers open. We can go ahead and hide that gesture layer. And then I'd like to add the irises in really quickly. Remember that when you're drawing irises, that big irises tend to be very cute, and small irises tend to be a little bit more realistic. So depending on your style, you pick the one that you think would look best with your art, or the one that you would like the most. I like to go somewhere in the middle when I'm drawing human characters. I am also a little lazy. I don't like to draw the circles too small, because I can never get them to match up perfectly. So I like to draw it where the iris sort of comes out of the outside of the eye like this, because it is easier for me to make half circles than full circles. But don't tell anybody. So now that we have our irises, I like to zoom out and you'll see that the eyes are looking slightly off center a bit. That happens a lot when I draw, so don't be afraid to move the eyes around to how you like them. I will use the lasso tool when doing that. So I will draw a lasso around and select the eye. And on your Clip Studio at the top, there's a little button up here that says Scale. If you click that while you have your lasso tool, you can move around objects that are on the layer you are currently drawing on. So it's a very handy tool. I use it a lot when I'm working on faces, because a lot of the time I am so zoomed in I cannot see what I'm doing, which can be frustrating sometimes, especially when you zoom out and the eye is way over here and you're like, why? Why do you do this? So we'll make the eyes sort of look a little bit better. Let's see here. I think that looks nice. Sometimes if you flip the drawing, it will give you a little bit of a better look at how it's going. Just be careful if you flip the eye too much or flip the drawing too much. You might end up getting too used to how it looks and you won't be able to tell when there are differences. So I like how this looks. Remember, it's just a sketch. So I will go back to zoom in, and now that we have our eyes sort of lined out, I like to do the lashes next. So when I'm doing the lashes, I like to make them very thick on the outside of the eye. Some people also draw them very thick on the inside of the face, like this, instead of like this. That is really up to you as a style option, but remember that it is your drawing and you can go very wild with it. You can do both if you like. My biggest issue is that I do too much, which I guess is not so much an issue as it is that I just have too much fun while I'm drawing. So for this video, I think I am going to go a little wild and draw a whole bunch of eyelashes because I am having a lot of fun with you. Let's see here. There we go. Lots of eyelashes. You don't have to make them even if you don't want to. If you want to make the eyes pop too, sometimes I will put lashes on the bottom of a character. I think it looks really cute, but that is up to you. Some people will just do little lines, like so. And some people will also do sort of a bunch of squiggles or jagged lines. So it depends really on how you want your character to look. For me, I just like to do little lines because I think they make her look cute. And then, that is pretty much that for the eye. You can also add little eye folds up here. And then your eyes are pretty much sketched. I am having a lot of fun with you. Oh, wait a second. Those eyes look like they're very high on her head. I'm going to move them down a little bit. I think that looks much better. It's not exactly center, but that is fine. Anyways, I'm having so much fun with you, I think we should go ahead and color these eyes. Now, usually when I'm sketching, I don't usually color them all the way, but I think we're going to go ahead and do that anyways. So, I'm going to label this layer the line art, even though it is just a sketch. And then I'm going to label this layer color base. So I put a CB there because I am very lazy and I do not want to type color base. Okay, so what color should we make her eyes? I am thinking to make them blue because her hair will probably be blonde. She will look kind of like a pirate with her headband, I think. And I picture a blonde pirate while I'm drawing her. So let's make her eyes blue. I think a more greenish blue would be a good color to pick. When I'm picking colors for the eyes, I always choose a slightly darker blue or slightly darker color. Because if you choose a totally bright color, the most brightest it can possibly be, it is harder to shade, in my opinion. So it is up to you, but I like to use a darker blue. That way when we are shading, we can take the lighter blue and shade it like this, and it will make your eyes look very nice and very pretty. So I think before we start shading the eyes, we're going to need the white of the iris, or the white part of the eye. I am not totally sure what it is called. Again, when you are picking the whites of the eye, I do not go with the brightest white because it will make it more difficult to shade. So we will go ahead and pick a sort of off red color, or orange, I suppose, to use for our whites of our eyes. Sometimes you can use blue, but I like to do a sort of reddish color. That is a style opinion. So you do what you like the best, my friend. Okay, so we have very pretty looking blue eyes. Whoa! I'm going outside the lines. Okay, so now I think what I will do is I'll make a new layer and I will label it pupil, because I think that we should draw her pupils, because at the moment she is looking a little scary. Okay, so let's see here. When you are drawing pupils, let me get zoomed in better. When you're drawing pupils, remember that big pupils are cuter, just like irises, and smaller pupils tend to look more pained or crazy or realistic, I suppose, if you go a little bit bigger than that. So I like to go somewhere in the middle when I am drawing my human characters. When I am drawing furry characters, I like to go very big because I like to imagine the furry characters are very cute. They remind me of my cat, and he is very cute, and I like him a lot. Okay, so there we have some pupils. I don't like them. I'm going to redraw them. You want to make sure that they're sort of looking the same direction. Remember, pupils are never 100% even. So there we go. That looks sort of nice, but it's just a sketch, so we do not have to worry about it being perfect. Okay, so now we can actually start shading now that we have some colors and pretty blue eyes. So when I start, I make a new layer, and I will do clip at layer below. If you're unfamiliar with this technique, what that does is it makes it so when you are drawing, for example, I will draw with black right now, it will only draw on the layer underneath it. So see how I pull the black here, and it only drew on the white? If you were not clipping, it would have made this big thing, a big old mess. But if you clip at the layer below here, it will stop that from happening. So I will make a new layer, and I will clip it at the layer below, and then I will label this white WS for white shading. So I will take that white color, and I will get a slightly darker version of that. I will pull down the color wheel just slightly, and I'll use my fill tool to fill that white completely with a darker color. Then I will get an even darker color, and I will take a paintbrush. Usually the smooth watercolor brush works very well for this, or the dense watercolor brush. I use lots of the watercolor brushes, they work well for me, but if you have a brush that is your favorite, go ahead and use that. So here I will go ahead and I will start painting a little bit of that darker color, that very dark one, over the outsides of the whites of the iris. So we'll go ahead and we'll paint that just on the outsides, just a little bit. Sometimes too it's fun to go around the iris completely with the shading. It adds a little bit of pop while you're drawing. Okay, and then we will take our eraser tool. The soft eraser works very well, or if you're painting, you can simply paint with a brighter white color. And we will just make a little circle here, a little circle on the outside of the iris, on both sides, little circle, maybe a little bit of a circle in here. And if you like, you can also take your blur tool. You don't want to blur too much, but you can blur a part of that, not the whole thing, unless you like the whole thing blurred. And that looks very nice when you are zoomed out. It is just like when you are putting makeup on and you are putting eyeliner on, that no one is ever going to be close enough to see the mistakes. So if you have made some errors, do not worry. No one will see them when they are zoomed out. And now we will work on shading the blue of her eyes in much the same way that we shaded the white. So what we'll do is we'll make a new layer, and then I will take a drink of my water because I'm very thirsty and talking is very hard for me. Remember to stay hydrated, my friends. Water is very important. Okay, and so we will make a new layer, and we will clip it at the layer below, and we will call this one we'll call it CS for color shading. I hope that makes sense. So we will go ahead and we'll take that blue, and we will pick a darker blue, maybe saturate it a little bit more if you like, and we'll take our fill tool and we'll fill the eye completely. Then we will take an even darker blue color, and then where the dark part of the white meets the iris, you will use our paintbrush, our smooth watercolor or a dense watercolor depending on what you like, and we will do the same thing we did with the eye. We'll shade and we'll go around the iris. So we'll shade where it meets the white of the eye, and we'll go around the iris. This will make the eye pop when you are zoomed out because it will look like it is sort of outlined. So now we will take our eraser or the transparent paint on a brush, if you know how to do that, and we will sort of erase along the bottom. Let that white blue show, and then that starts to look very nice. So now if you'd like to get fancy, you can make a new layer, and we will still clip at the layer below. You can see that it sort of makes a very nice sort of, I guess, organization for the layers. So here we will name this the glow layer, and we are going to make a glow layer. If you are not familiar with the glow or the blending modes in Clip Studio, here above your layers there is an option called blending mode, and it will say normal. So if you click on that and you click glow dodge, there are many different types of blending modes. They all do different things, but glow dodge is one of my favorite. If you're unfamiliar with glow dodge, let me show you a little bit of how it works very quickly. So let us take this blue color of the eye and let us compare a normal layer to a glow layer. So I will paint very quickly the blue. So this is a normal blue that we had used on the eye, and then that is the normal layer, and with a glow tool, when you paint it across, it will sort of glow as you pull the brush across your eye. So it's very pretty. It can be used for all sorts of nice things like magic or eyes like we are doing now, or sun rays and things like that. Anywho, if you are already familiar, this will just be a recap, and I'm sure you are already very better than I am at using glow tools. So I will go ahead and delete these layers because they are a little messy, and I will make a glow layer very quickly. So we'll make a new layer, we'll clip it at the layer below, we will change the blending mode to glow dodge, and I'm still using my watercolor brush, and I will just take the blue of the eye. I'm not even going to pick a new color, I'm just going to sample this color. I'm going to take my watercolor brush, and I'm going to brush a little U on the bottom of the eye. Kind of like that. You don't want too much glow. Things can quickly get out of hand, believe me. And a little U. And then we will lower the opacity just slightly, just a little bit. I'm going to put the opacity down at about 70. And then we will take our eraser and we will pull the eraser through the bottom of the eye. That will sort of make it look like there is a reflection in her eye. So we are just pulling the eraser through the center of the eyes, and that gives it a sort of reflective look. You don't have to do that if you don't like it, because it does create this sort of jagged edge in her eye. So right now I actually think it looks a little better without the reflective look. You know what? I cannot decide. Let us leave that there. I think that doing extra stuff will make it look good, and you get to learn something new. So the last thing that we do when we are working on our eyes, or I am working on my eyes, is to make a new layer above the line art layer. And I will label this one OL for overlays. So when you are making your highlights on your eye, because I will put the highlights on this layer, I will pick either a pure white or a slightly off-white. You don't want to go full too dark for your highlights. And remember that when you are drawing very cute eyes, you want a lot of highlights. And when you are drawing more realistic eyes, you don't want too many. So it is up to you. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put just a little bit with the G pen, a little bit of highlights on her eye. Make her look very pretty. Sometimes I'll use a bunch of little dots. I think that that looks nice. And when you are working on the other eye, you want to copy what you see on the eye you did before. So you see how we are copying exactly what we did? It is very nice. It looks very pretty. If you wanted your eyes to be very cute, you go big with your highlights, like this. Or if you want, you can even make little things that, like little hearts, maybe little stars in her eye. You know, little things that are very pretty. It is up to you. The eyes are very fun. You should be having a lot of fun when you're making the eyes. And then that, my friends, I think it is done. So that is how your eyes will end up looking. I hope that you had a lot of fun sitting with me today and learning a little bit about eyes, or just watching and having a lot of fun. So anyways, I hope that you have a wonderful night, and I hope that we get to spend more time together very soon. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you all in the next video.